his administration called this Syria strategy a success.
Yeah.
That was they called it a success. What part of that is successful? I mean, it's just laughable that they could even use those words. It's like Hillary Clinton in her speech the other day saying she's been the most transparent candidate
Oh my God.
in the political process. I mean, you heard that, right? The two
I'm
things
sorry.
are equally stupid, and how could anyone believe either one of them? But, you've got the media out there.
When I heard that today, Chris, I almost fell on my seat. I mean, she really had, I'll say, the balls to say it. I mean, who says that kind of stuff? It's like President Obama on the campaign trail. I'll have the most transparent administration in the history of the world. You didn't. You had the most untransparent. But I guess that day he was either on April Fool's Day or opposite day because he lied to everybody. Now, yeah, Hillary Clinton coming out saying that, and I'm like, Chris, you're a strategist. Why would anybody, Republican or Democrat, with trust issues say something like that to double down on stupid? She already has issues. Why would she say something like that?
Because the media has her back in this for some reason, right? So she is the most transparent candidate in the history of politics because she's being open and honest, suppose air quotes, you're open and honest about releasing the emails that she was ordered to release from the private server she set up to circumvent the State Department. Does that make sense to you? So
it's ridiculous.
She's transparent because she was caught and she's released some emails because she had to from a private server that she had to circumvent the actual process that would have made it transparent. Makes perfect sense to me.
It's beyond me, Chris. Why she continues to run for president. Here's the thing. She's got attorneys. She's got strategists. She has a campaign manager, directors, all these people. Do they have any say in her campaign at all? Or is she so oblivious and so narcissistic to think that nothing will affect her? And that's the thing. It's like she's suffering, and I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist here, Chris, but this is a classic case of denial. I mean, she is in complete denial there's any problems. I understand politicians sometimes want to present confidence and there's nothing wrong, but dear God, Chris, she is in so much trouble right now. I mean, at the very sign of the Benghazi emails, she should have said, I'm not running for president. I got to get in front of this thing. I don't want to go to prison. But she doesn't get that, Chris. I think she's got to be mentally ill. There's something so bad and so wrong with her to be in denial of she could be going to prison, Chris. That is extreme denial.
Well, you just mentioned the Benghazi thing. I'll get to that in a second, but I'm beginning to believe that her political operatives really are secret agents and writers for Saturday Night Live. Her campaign has done so much to boost that show over the last 6 months or so. I mean, it's been some of the best, Saturday Night Live skits that I've seen in a couple of years. So she's really helped them out a lot. And her campaign managers must be writers for the show or getting paid or something. But to touch on the Benghazi thing real quick, the Republicans just gave her a huge bit of cover by Kevin McCarthy saying what he did about the Benghazi committee and how it related to Hillary. And it was just such a stupid statement on McCarthy's part that it is going to make his push to be Speaker of the House that much tougher. He was a shoo-in. He's probably still a shoo-in for that seat, but he was absolutely a shoo-in and probably without any real competition before that statement. And once he said that, he just made himself look really bad and invited competition to challenge him for House Speaker.
But here's the thing, Chris. We think, you're a Republican strategist. You work for campaigns. You're working for campaigns probably right now. Why in the world would these candidates and these current congressmen, do they think they're invincible sometimes when they say stupid things like this? Because every time I go out to make a speech, I have things in mind that I want to say. And if I feel I might be going off track, I'll give a pause or just a moment to get back on track. But these people they just spit out the stupidest things. And when a Republican does it, Chris, they get crucified for it all the time. We get that. That's how the left-wing media is. But
absolutely. We couldn't possibly count how many stupid things Nancy Pelosi had said. But yet you don't hear about that so much because other than you've got to pass it to find out what's in it. Other than that one, it's just so stupid. You just don't hear about it from them because of any genius in the past. But even politics within politics, there are campaigns and campaign managers and campaign strategies just working on campaign strategies to be the speaker. So there's a whole team of people working with McCarthy not to keep his congressional seat, not to win a congressional seat, but just to become the speaker. So there's campaigns within campaigns within campaigns, and I've got to feel sorry for whoever his guy is right now. When he said that his guy must have gone out to the bar immediately after him. Like, what did he just do? This is a guy that had it sewn up, no competition, whether you liked him or you didn't, whether you thought we needed to get away from the Boehner leadership team or not. He had it locked up.
But isn't he disconnected?
So incredibly stupid. It opened up the gates for other candidates to get into that race.
But isn't it like a total disconnect? Because he had it wrapped up. You say something that stupid. It's like he almost wanted to just blow it up on purpose. Do you think he wanted to blow up on purpose?
That's even more than just a slip of the tongue. Those kind of things happen, but this was like...
It's on purpose.
It was just weird. It was just weird the way it came out. The way it was an unforced error to put it in a...
But was it unforced? You go out and you say this on public record. That's beyond unforced. Why would anybody in their right mind he is so close to being third in line for the President of the United States. People don't realize this. This guy made a complete political disaster move. He was so close to being third in line for the presidency. And he screws it up. This is like this is politics 101, Chris.
To go beyond unforced error, like that. This is, and we have a lot of Boston Red Sox fans down in my area. This was the Billy Buckner move of politics. It's like letting the ball go through your legs and letting the Mets win the World Series. It's really pretty bad and completely unforced and completely just a slip up that somebody who is that polished and has reached that level of politics just never made. It just really was a big mistake, and rightfully so. A lot of other politicians who were dead set on voting for him for speaker, it should give them some pause to go, this is going to be our mouthpiece for the entire House of Representatives. Can we put up with those kind of mistakes? Do we have any room for those kind of mistakes? It really makes you think twice about who you're putting in as the Speaker of the House. And so certainly there's going to be some opposition, and Jason Chaffetz, who is a strong candidate, whether he has the votes to win it, maybe not. But between him and Dan Webster, they may pull enough from a McCarthy speaker platform that it may bring about another candidate as a compromise candidate.
Well, how about this, Chris?
McCarthy's still the favorite by quite a bit, but that could happen.
Let's open it up a little bit, Chris, because here's the thing, folks. I'm going to explain this to the people watching, people listening to the show. They can elect someone that's not actually a sitting member of Congress. They can do that if they really wanted to. But
they can, and our congressman here in Florida, my district, Kirk Lawson, actually, when Boehner was up this last election, cast his vote for Rand Paul.
Really?
Got a lot of media attention down here from some in the press going, oh, he doesn't even know that, Rand Paul's in the Senate. Well, no, you media people don't realize that that's not a requirement to be in the House. So certainly it was a protest vote. Certainly he knew that Rand Paul was not going to be the Speaker of the House. He was sending a message that that's the kind of person that we might need leading Congress, not what we have. So, yeah, certainly that's quite possible.
But here's the thing. I don't think it will happen.
Who's not a congressman being, it won't happen, but
it will happen. But it's an interesting take.
Certainly send a message then.
Why don't we have a conservative mind that says and comes out and says, listen, if you vote for me to be Speaker of the House, I will do it. Why don't we have someone like that, Chris? Someone, why don't we have these people running saying, listen, we have choices outside of Congress to represent the House of Representatives. We have a person that can lead that's not actually a part of the D.C. establishment. Wouldn't that be refreshing, Chris? That would be totally refreshing.
It would be, but you're far more likely to see someone from Congress. And if you're going to see someone from Congress, maybe there's a battle that takes place that allows a consensus candidate. Because remember, the conservative side of the House is only 40. They may lean with another 10, so 50 at top congressional members that would be considered conservative. You need 218 votes from your party at this point to become the Speaker of the House. And so while that conservative group certainly controls some of the votes, they don't control enough to get their own guy in. But it can be enough if they play it right to force a more conservative compromise candidate as Speaker. So I think that's the kind of the politics within politics, the inside game that you may see play unless McCarthy has sewn it up. He's a likable guy from what I hear on the Hill. People like him. He's personable. That certainly helps. He's young. He's not been there that long that you'd call him a career DC guy. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I think Boehner certainly has thrown his support behind him for whatever that's worth. And Boehner has manipulated and maneuvered the voting schedule to try and give him and the rest of the leadership team that Boehner supports the greatest opportunity to become the next leadership team. We have a friend in Louisiana who, Steve Scalise, who's done a good job as whip over the last couple of years and is now making a play for the number 2 seat, the majority leader seat. Scalise is someone who's been a good conservative. He's been a little bit outside of although he's in leadership, he hasn't been exactly a favorite of Boehner, although they've kind of played nice. So there's some movements out there, and this delayed vote certainly is part of an effort to try to draw some opposition against Scalise in the battle for leadership, the number 2 spot. Scalise is really the best choice, and hopefully he makes it. He's been a good leader and a conservative leader up there. So there's all kinds of little chess moves and different moving pieces and parts going on right now. way beyond who gets that speaker spot, although that's what the media focuses on. There's a whole lot of stuff going on in those next couple of spots below it that is just as important for the party and for governing.
All right, let's do some fast topics. We got 3 more topics. We're going to do the feel-good story of the night. Amtrak warns of service cuts if Congress doesn't extend a safety deadline. This is from FoxNews.com. The interesting part about this, Chris, as I'm reading through this article, it says the Rail Safety Improvement Act passed in 2008 and set a December 31st, 2015 deadline for most commuter and freight trains to be overhauled with PTC, a new GPS monitoring and safety network aimed at preventing deadly accidents like the recent Amtrak derailment in Philadelphia that left 8 dead. This is just another example. They passed this back in 2008, Chris, and we're looking like 7 years later, and they still can't get the thing fixed. And we have dead people because they couldn't get it done, and this accident happened this year. This is mind-boggling. How the hell do people trust government when they pass things, give them 7 years to do something, and they still can't do it? I mean, you're from the Northeast originally, Chris. You know about Amtrak. I mean, you've probably ridden it up in the Northeast. Why in the world do people still trust government when this kind of stuff keeps going on?
You know, I've taken Amtrak from Atlantic City to New York City. One of the few times I've ridden it, and you know, it was nice. It wasn't real crowded. I'm sure they lost money.
Yeah, exactly.
On the trip, but it was good for me. The number of years alone highlights the inefficiency of government and government funding and government subsidies. And here's what I would say about this. So Amtrak hasn't been able to get this accomplished in the amount of time they've had, 7 years or 8 years, whatever the amount of time is. So now they're threatening that, oh, well, there could be service interruptions. Well, here's what I would be saying as a congressman. I would be saying, well, yeah, there could be some service interruptions for the $1.4 billion you get from the federal government every year, too.
Yeah.
We could interrupt your $1.4 billion, and you can just go do it yourself because, you know, well, you can't follow through on what you're supposed to do getting our money, so why are we giving it to you? Let's just pull our money back and you go do your thing, Amtrak. Maybe you'll be more successful without us. If not, we'll replace, some other business will replace you if it's profitable. And if not, then, there'll be other means of transportation that will step in to fill the void of the awful service that Amtrak has had and their awful safety record. So maybe we should stop funding you to $1.4 billion a year and just let the private sector do what they do best.
Yeah, I really think that's... I still don't get this whole fascination with rail. I get it why the Northeast kind of wants it and needs it because of the congestion. But look in Florida. Sunrail is an absolute failure in Central Florida and the Orlando area. They're trying to do rail on the East Coast. I forget what even call that, but they've been trying to do that where they would run the light rail on the freight train tracks. Every time they try to do rail, it's an absolute failure, and they're still trying to do it in Hillsborough, Pinellas County, and it's a failure, Chris. And they keep on trying to pump money into this thing, and I don't see. I see these people talking about all the time on Facebook, and I'll give you an example, Chris. I think it was today or yesterday, I was looking on Facebook. They were talking about doing it in Tampa again. And this one woman, brave enough to go on the Facebook feed, apparently, said, who would write it? And she got 1 out of 12 people that said they would write it. It's like, okay, case closed. No one wants to give up their cars. I mean, look at the public bus system. People barely write that in a lot of cases. It's government subsidized. So we're going to put a complete, huge infrastructure, railroad tracks, railroad crossings, all these different things, spending billions of dollars, is going to be a losing proposition. Florida, we like our cars. I mean, it's not the Northeast.
Well, here's the thing you said in that entire statement that makes the most sense. said, well, I could see why in the Northeast rail's important. Well, so can every business person in the world. So guess what the only profitable part of Amtrak is? The Northeast.
Yes.
So if we stop subsidizing Amtrak, guess who would be running the business? There'd be some other company that would step in and run the Northeast where you need it, where it pays for itself, and everywhere else where it's not profitable and nobody uses it, you wouldn't have it. And that's how the private sector works. They'll step in, and when there becomes a need for a train to run between Orlando and Tampa, some private sector business will come in and do it if it makes sense and it's profitable. Yeah, and guess what? If it makes sense and it's profitable, that means that it will service people who live in those areas, and those people will be happy, and it'll be because they aren't wanting to drive their car anymore. It's because they want to take the train, and they'll pay for it. But until then, quit trying to force people to get on a damn train they don't want to get on, here and anywhere else.
It's like it's a crazy train.
Let the private sector go do it.
They're always getting on the crazy train.
No one's getting on the train. I mean, all right, I'll admit, I ride the monorail from the hotel at Disney into the park.
That's the most successful train system.
Because it's free and I'm staying there, but
the monorail does better.
I'd like to run one between Orlando and Tampa.
Think about it. The monorail has better ridership than all the rail in the rest of the country. The monorail system at Disney. That's the most efficient rail system in the United States is Disney World. Think about it. People, I mean, you've rode it. I've ridden it several times, and it can be crowded at times, and sometimes it can't be during some times of the day and night. But it's a pretty efficient model. I mean, you have several running. It doesn't have a lot of stops. So one of them has one stop at Disney World. It goes right back to the ticket area to pick up people. But that's the most efficient rail that I've seen is the monorail at Disney World by far. We got.
It takes you in. You can pick up your $6 bottle of water and wait 2 hours to get on Space Mountain, and you're good. And then you can get to go home after you see the fireworks with 12,000 other people trying to get out on the same monorail. But it works for them because, it's Disney. And it's private sector, so, we're not subsidized.
Yeah, exactly. It's very successful because it's the private sector. All right, another story that's very interesting tonight. Harvard's prestigious debate team loses to New York inmates. This was one of the funniest things I've seen in a long time, Chris. Headlines in Boston. A group of New York inmates has toppled Harvard's prestigious debate team. They actually won the national title in 2014, but the inmates are building a reputation too. The club has notched victories against the U.S. Military Academy at West Point and the University of Vermont. This is crazy. This is a panel of neutral judges declare the inmates victorious. Now, we do not know what they were debating on from this article that was posted on FoxNews.com.
That's probably the important question.
That's the important question, because if they're all on death row trying to fight the death penalty, I can understand how they would win that debate. Because we have a vested interest in winning a debate, you may just be more motivated to win the debate. But I would.
Maybe
what's that?
Who can do best in tying bed sheets together? It could be who can do best in making a weapon out of a bar of soap. Who knows? There are probably some really good ideas here.
But they didn't tell what they were debating. I mean, I want to know how the prisoners won. Were they talking about committing fraud? Were they talking about debating how to best rob a bank? I mean, how to commit crimes, how to run your own drug business. We don't know what the terms of the debate were. Now, I want to know. I wish.
And that I would think that there would be a significant home field advantage for the prisoners if it was held in the maximum security prison. I think it might just intimidate the Harvard crew just a little bit if they were, near
each other,
right there in the cells or in the yard, difference there.
Now, that's a distinct possibility there,
What an
Chris.
interesting story.
Very interesting story. All right, now talk about more prisoners. Justice Department headlining in Fox News Politics today. Justice Department to release 6,000 inmates from federal prisons beginning October 30th. The 6,000 inmates from federal prisons beginning at the end of the month are a part of a new sentencing guidelines for drug crimes established last year. A federal law enforcement official confirmed Tuesday to Fox News. The new drug sentencing guidelines from U.S. Sentencing Commission, which are intended to reduce penalties on certain nonviolent drug offenders, also applies to any future offenders. They said the commission decided in July 2014 that close to 50,000 federal inmates locked up on drug charges will be eligible for reduced sentences. The new sentencing guidelines took effect November 1st of 2014. Now, here's the thing, Chris, and these may be quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes here, non-violent offenders in the eyes of the administration, but they still committed crimes. They committed crimes under a set of laws and guidelines and rules at that time. So if we just want to retroactively, backdate all these laws or whatever, what is the motivation to not commit the crime then? And I can guarantee you the administration's in on this, because it seems like they love lawlessness. They don't want anybody to be held responsible for their crimes, and they keep saying non-violent drug offenders. Now, if you're selling a bunch of crack or a bunch of weed or a bunch of drugs, period, people don't realize they may be quote unquote non-violent. There's so much violence going on with the drug trade. They are accomplices to the drug trade. With Mexican drug cartels, all the drug violence is happening. People getting robbed, people getting stabbed, people getting shot over drug deals and over all the money. You cannot tell me these are non-violent. This breeds violence into, say, it's a non-violent drug offenders. I'm sorry, but if you have a bunch of drugs on you and you're ready to distribute, you're part of the problem. And this is why the war on drugs is failing, because we continue to manipulate these laws and let people out. And I can guarantee you, Chris, most of these people are probably going to be rearrested anyways, because they're not rehabilitating anybody. They're just putting them back on the streets again.
Yeah, look, if you want to revisit sentencing guidelines going forward for people who may have used or been caught using and not selling or whatever the case may be, maybe there's some merit to that. But in this case, you have already established a penalty for a crime committed. You've had a judge deliver a sentence, and it really is important that we uphold what the judge decided and just move forward with that. It can't be retroactive here. That just doesn't make sense. You can't possibly know. You can't possibly go back and review each of those cases and have any semblance of an understanding of what that judge had in his mind when he gave that sentence. So to go back and retroactively do this is just bad. And I wonder, I hope that doesn't mess up the debate team any with the release of the prisoners.
Maybe they were debating that.
We're on the debate team. Maybe they'll keep them on the debate. Maybe they'll have to stay longer because they were on the winning debate team. I don't know, but it's just a bad idea to go back and retroactively do this when you don't know what was in the judge's mind at the time you did the sentencing. You're second guessing the authority at the time. You're second guessing the law at the time. If you want to change the rules going forward, have that debate. But let's not go back and be retroactive.
Yeah, I agree. Chris, thanks for joining me again tonight on the show. I greatly appreciate all that you do for your community and for the show. I hope you have a great week, and we'll talk to you next Tuesday night.
Sounds great, Matt. Always good to be on, and good talk.
Thanks, Chris. Chris Berardi, everyone. He's a co-host of the Tuesday night edition of the show. I want to say thanks again for him for joining us. I want to thanks Stephen, our producer, jumping in tonight talking about gun violence or gun rights. I appreciate that. I want to thank Tyson Also, help us with the social media and our graphics. We greatly appreciate all the hard work and dedication that everybody is showing to make the Broward Report a success. And I want to apologize for the Periscope tonight. For some reason, it doesn't look like it's the Wi-Fi connection, folks. It looks like it's actually the app that was going crazy tonight for some random reason. It cut off again during the show. I don't want to apologize for that. Some things we cannot help, but we can help you get the news and views that you can use because we're looking out for you, the American people. Feel good story of the day because you know why, folks? Because the people demand the feel good story. We have posted this on Facebook.com/Broward Report. Feel free to like and share it from there. Carl Schneider is one of 5 teachers from Whitney Achievement Elementary in Memphis, Tennessee, who volunteered to walk home with 200 students who live within a mile or two of the school. Along with teachers Kevin Sullivan, Rural Polk, Allison Thompson, Valeria Bostic, they divide the kids into 2 groups based on where they live and copy them to ensure that they are all arrive home safely. It's quoted, we can just get to know the kids and talk about what they did over the weekend or how their behavior was at school that day or what they learned, said Carl Schneider. It says, thank you to all the amazing teachers out there who dedicate their lives to helping students in big ways and small. This was ran from the Huffington Post on October the 5th. Folks, this is a great feel-good story. Now, these teachers, they do not have to walk these kids home, but they are taking a step to better our children by discussing the things that really matter to them. It's like, how are you doing? How's your behavior? What did you do over the weekend? Having real conversations with them. And I'm telling you, most of these kids probably don't have real good conversations outside of school. Maybe with their parents, but, you know, in this situation, this is Memphis, Tennessee, and this is not happening in New York City or, Memphis, Tennessee is a decent-sized city. Don't get me wrong. But this is just a prime example of going above and beyond your pay grade, your occupation, and just doing the right thing. Having conversations with kids. And I'm telling you right now, when I was a child, I remember my teachers. I still do. The ones that touch your life and make an impact on you. These children will always remember these teachers by their name because they took the time out to keep them safe and showed interest in them while other people may not show interest at all in them. And I applaud all those teachers in Memphis, Tennessee for doing the right thing. Folks, thanks so much for watching the show tonight. Sorry about the Periscope. I do apologize if it goes out of my control. Still feel bad. It kept on going in and out. But we're going to work on maybe getting a better app to work on, but we'll see. Also, I want to thank, again, everyone that's a part of the program. I cannot do it without everyone. I'm sharing the articles, sharing the feeds, working on the producing side, getting stories together, talking about ideas. I am really blessed with the team that we have here on the Broward Report as we continue to grow and bring more news and views that you can use. Remember, folks, we are live Tuesday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to have Politics with Chris on Tuesdays. We're going to have Hot Topics on Wednesday with Bill. And we're going to have Thought-Provoking Thursdays with Barry. So we are coming up with fresh ideas to make sure that the folks out there know what we are up to on the Broward Report. And remember, folks, coming up soon, we will have a Man on the Street show. We will be streaming that live and recording it for YouTube for later play. So make sure to stay tuned for that as we continue to grow the Broward Report family and bring you news and views that you can use because we're looking out for you, the American people. Folks, thanks so much for watching us. If you caught us on the Periscope, we're going to upload half the show to YouTube because we were trying to record it on Periscope time, but we did record at least half of it on video, so we will get that uploaded as soon as possible so y'all can catch the second half of the show tonight on the Broward Report. We'll be tomorrow night live with Bill. Hot Topics with Bill and Matt on the Broward Report. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Have a great evening, and God bless America.